Vad är det?
Ja, vad är det själv? Vad håller du på med själv?
Men vad håller du på med? Lägg av! Vad fan gör du? Gå och gör sallad istället.
Sallad? Okej. Tomatas. Sallad. Varsågod. Machosallad.
Changes. A lot of changes in this great sport. And a lot of changes in a number of individuals in professional wrestling. In the World Wrestling Federation, here is a man that has not only turned it around 180 degrees,
180 degrees.
but he's gone another 360 and then
360.
and then another 180. Macho Man Randy Savage. You have changed over the past couple of months like I can not believe, sir.
I'm a chameleon, yeah.
Chameleon?
Yeah. I'm talking about the beat goes on, yeah. And the beat goes on, yeah. And the beat goes on. In the video scope, yeah, I am looking right into you right now. Macho Madness right now. Sugar is sweet and so is honey. Macho Madness is on a roll and it can't be stopped. No, Elizabeth understands what I'm talking about, yeah.
Why is it, Macho Man, when I sit and talk to you, stand and talk to you for that matter, that I think of old Sonny and Cher hits? Why is that?
Unbelievable. Time distortion. Space is the place, Mean Gene Okerlund. Go down that lonesome highway, yeah. But don't be hypnotized, no. Reincarnation doesn't have to be. You can concentrate and you can, mental telepathy, yeah.
But the beat goes on.
But the beat goes on.
That beat in particular has got to include maybe the Honky Tonk Man, the Intercontinental Champion of the world. I know you're not getting along real well with members of the Bobby Heenan family, Macho Man. Not at all.
Let me tell you something right now. Talking about the greatest Intercontinental Champion that ever lived, the Honky Tonk Man is out of line. Yeah, because I am the greatest Intercontinental Heavyweight Champion that ever lived, and I'm the greatest professional wrestler that ever lived, and I'm living now. Yeah, right now.
You know, he makes no bones about making the proclamation that he is, I'm talking about the Honky Tonk Man, the greatest Intercontinental Champion of all time.
He says I can't sing and I can't dance, but I can make romance. Yeah, right there, the fork in the road. I said go right. Elizabeth said go left. I went right. And then I understand what the situation was. I went over that one bridge, yeah. And then when I crossed that bridge, I found out that I was on the right side. And I said, Elizabeth, follow me, yeah, because I'm going straight to the top. The stars, yeah, the stars. One shining star in the night, shining brighter than all the other ones. I'm talking light years away, yeah.
You're talking Macho Madness.
Macho Madness, yeah. Macho Madness rolling, yeah. You thought so, but I know so. And Macho Madness is coming straight at you, Honky Tonk Man. And light, yeah, because I'm on a roll and I ain't stopping, yeah.